Hey y'all, it's August the 24th, 2017, and y'all, I wanted to talk to you about something that I've talked to you about a lot, and chances are it's going to be a reoccurring theme on this here channel. I want to talk to y'all about something at the risk of totally repeating myself, which I do often. The thing that I want to talk to y'all about, the reason I want to keep talking about it is because I feel like it's worth reiterating. I feel like a lot of people ain't hearing me, not yet, alright? But it's worth driving home, right? Because there are problems that are definitely arising from the situation, from the subject that is drugs. Right? A lot of people in this country and moreover the world are experiencing problems in their life, either from their use of drugs, or maybe they have someone, a loved one in their life, and their use of drugs is causing problems to them. You cannot deny the problems that these people are incurring, and the fact is that that's very serious. I would never dream of denying that. It is very serious. It's deadly serious, right? But what's very important, and I gotta continue to focus on, is that first of all, drugs is everything, right? Problem isn't that we are drowning in drugs, especially here in America. The problem isn't drugs at all itself, right? The problem that I want to go over with you today is that we don't know what drugs is. We have no idea. As far as a collective, in a collective sense, we don't have no clue what is drugs. And that is the problem, because when you don't know what drugs is, you won't know how to conquer it and rise above it necessarily. You won't know what it is. You don't know how it works necessarily, the drugs. I'll give you an example. See, a lot of people think drugs is very much the problem here, especially here in America, because we're swimming in drugs, all sort of drugs. What people consider drugs, as far as, you know, dope and smack and cream and crack and all sort of different names. There's all those names. There's all the names that you'll find from the doctor that he'll give you simply on your word, right? Through your insurance money, he'll give you drugs, these doctors, right? And then, you know, just go even further, there is alcohol. Alcohol obviously is seriously a drug, and it definitely needs to be taken with precaution. Here's the thing about it. We're drowning in drugs, all right? And a lot of people, like I said, they consider that to be one of our biggest problems. In fact, it's not. Because here's the thing. When you think about it on a practical sense, these drugs that we're talking about, right, lots of times, they'll actually get shipped in from all around the country, or not around the country, but the world. The whole world to ship them in. Like, obviously, it's common knowledge that everybody knows we get the most drugs. The world ships them into us, one way or another, right? That can't be denied, that a lot of it gets shipped in. Some of it, I guess, gets made here, but not hardly. We do a lot of drugs. As far as these hard drugs that people get addicted to, these things that they ingest, they'll drink it in, or they'll shoot it in, or they'll smoke it in. They'll do all sort of things, right? The thing that we do have to recognize is that America, it just so happened to become the greatest country at the same time when it was absolutely being flooded with drugs, right? I mean, debatably, it really is arguable that America, especially at one point, was the greatest country that we knew about, that was written about in history, right? The greatest. At the same exact time, we were being flooded with all sort of drugs. Now, that's not to say the drugs, this dope and the smack and the crack and the crackle, that's not to say that they were good necessarily. It's just to say that they didn't hold us back at all. You understand? That, so thereby, when you consider the fact that drugs couldn't hold us back, there wasn't nothing that could hold us back, you start to understand, well, drugs are not the problem then, obviously, right? Drugs are something that you get in a society when y'all actually have some money, when y'all's economy is going good. Then you can get all sort of different kinds of these whatever drugs, and you'll start getting them from the doctor, and you go to the bar and you get them, and you just get them wherever you go. You go to the Walgreens, you get them wherever. Drugs, all right, here in America, and a lot of people are incurring tough situations because of these drugs, or actually just surrounding these drugs. Like, for example, some people out there are having a very tough time. Maybe they're doing smack, right? And they're having a tough time with their life. Their life is kind of getting out of order. I understand that this happens all over the place, right? That's not to say that it doesn't. There's a lot of people out there who's got loved ones and stuff, and they wish those people would just stop drinking, dude. Just stop drinking, because it's terrible. It's messing up our lives, right? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people out there, and you can't deny that. People are having serious problems, right? And so actually what they'll tend to do, it's very important, it's crucial to note, that most people will tend to do is they'll look at the alcohol and say, you know what, this alcohol's a problem. You know, it's messing up our lives. You know, you're stumbling around and acting a damn fool and stuff. And it's like, dude, how much am I supposed to be able to put up with? Right? Yeah, they might look at the alcohol and say, man, you know, the alcohol is a problem. Or maybe they'll be, like I said, addicted to smack. And they'll be like, dude, I can't even get off this smack. This smack is the problem. I know y'all have heard that sentiment. Alright? The smack ain't the problem. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. The smack ain't the problem, actually. Right? The alcohol ain't the problem, actually. Right? The problem, I have to stress, because I feel as though it'll save lives one day, is that the problem ain't drugs. The problem is that we don't know what drugs is. We don't know how to use them. And that's why I made a video a little while back, how to use them, in which I detailed some of the, there's obviously more details that we should have to show. It's going to be more expansive as far as conquering drugs. The way in which you conquer drugs. It's an instantaneous thing, kind of like Charlie Sheen said. I know Charlie Sheen is well now, he's got HIV and stuff. But however, he was making sense when he said you have to conquer drugs. It's something that happens in your head. It's instantaneous. Alright? And he really wasn't lying when he said that, because the thing is, if you understand what's drugs, conquering them ain't really that hard at all. In fact, it's more of a natural, it's just what happens. Alright? What I mean to say is, like I said before, okay, you're a person and you got a brain, alright? I guarantee you, right? So, a drug, you'll ingest it somehow or another. You'll drink it, you'll shoot it up, you'll smoke it, or you do whatever with the drug. You'll eat it sometimes. That drug, alright, is going to make chemical reactions happen in your brain. This is scientific, dude. This is science. Everybody knows this. 97% of all the world's scientists, they all agree that when you do these drugs, the chemicals go off in your brain and it makes you feel good. Right, for the most part. And I know it might look crazy from the outside. You might see a drug person and say, oh man, there's no way that they feel good. You might see someone on the side and say that, well, that doesn't look like it feels good. But to them it does. To them it does. That's why they do it. The drugs. Chemical reactions happen. Understand this. That applies to everything. Like I said, everything is drugs. Right? And feel free to leave me comments. Yeah, I'll leave my email and stuff. Holler at me about it if you don't understand. When I say everything is drugs, because it doesn't matter what you come in contact with. It does not matter. When you break it down in scientific terms, you come in contact with anything. I got coffee right here. That is definitely a drug. Drink it makes me feel good because chemical reactions happen in my brains. And I feel good. Right? But when you start to understand, this applies to everything. It does not matter. The sun's coming through the window. Y'all can't feel it, but I can feel it. It feels pretty good. I like it. That is drugs. Chemical reactions are happening in my brain, making me feel good. It came from the sun, the air conditioner. I don't always like it, but right now it feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. That in and of itself is drugs. Right? Anything that you do. You like playing with your children. That's drugs. Right? You like the cooking. You like doing whatever. You like going out and working on the lawn. You like doing whatever. It does not matter. That is drugs. Alright? And as a society, especially in these public schools, just to veer off for a second, we're being taught to avoid drugs. Right? To avoid what makes us feel good. For example, you take a small child to school or daycare for the first time, they're not going to like that. They're going to show you, I don't like this. It's not what I want. And then meanwhile, we'll just leave them at school or daycare or whatever, and they'll get used to it eventually. See, that right there is an act of getting used to what you didn't want to do. You're doing the opposite of drugs because it doesn't make you feel good. In fact, what you're doing makes you feel real bad or maybe really abandoned, like I said, as a small child. You might feel that way. You might feel real bad. Right? This is a situation that you have to get used to. How are you going to get used to it? Well, you're going to do drugs. Maybe you'll act out in class. Maybe you'll find some stuff that you really are interested in, and that'll make you, it'll get you adjusted, assimilated to the situation that is school and all these other situations in which children have to get used to doing what they don't want to do. So in the meantime, they find all sort of drugs. I don't care if it's playing with blocks. I don't care if it's writing on the desk with a crayon and thinking you're bad. Alright? Those are drugs because it makes you feel good to do them. That's why you do them. Right, that being said, you can look and identify, and I call them chemical drugs. You can look at smack and dope and crack and cream and alcohol and reefer and everything, tobacco. You can look at all these drugs and say, oh, well, there's a difference between them. Those are bad. Right? But really, there's no difference between them. Right? Drugs are all the same in that they work the same. The problem that most people have, especially these people out here who, you know, they go off the rails and stuff with the alcohol or maybe the reefer or whatever. They go off the rails with these things. The problem with these people is not the drugs. It's not that they do the drugs either. And I know that's a tough pill to swallow. It's not that they do the drugs. It's that they don't understand what drugs are. And therefore, see, it's the situation of either you conquer the drugs or the drugs will conquer you. Kill or be killed is that sort of a situation. If you don't know what drugs are, they will conquer you, especially if you dabble into these chemical drugs. They'll get you for sure, because you don't understand what drugs are. Right? Had you had a better understanding of what drugs are, you would be able to, and you would probably would lean towards diversifying, which is something I brought up before in a previous video. Diversification. Right? The problem, like I said, if we want to dive to the heart of the matter, if we actually do want solutions instead of running around pointing our finger at people, the problem is not that these people like those drugs. The problem is not the drugs. The problem is that these people pretty much 100% of the time cannot diversify their drugs. They don't know how to do it. They can't do it no more. They've been roped into thinking, but this can happen for anything, like I said. Any drug, which is everything on the world, can rope you into it and you become dependent on it. Whatever it is. If you like playing chess in the park, I don't care what it is. It could be orange juice in the morning. Doesn't matter. Alright? If any person gets solely monopolized by this here drug, alright, and that drug takes over, there's your problem. You're done. You're done for. Alright? There is your problem. That is the end. Right? But however, when a person does the exact opposite, of that, and they recognize that everything is drugs, that lots of times in this world people have you do some stuff you didn't want to do. It's very unnatural, and you seethe, and it's like, I don't even want to go to court, but you go to court. Things of that nature. You do that. You get work done. You have a purpose, and you fulfill that purpose every single day, but at the same time, you do things that make you feel good. Right? Sometimes you ingest things that make you feel good. Nobody trips on me for drinking coffee all the time. And I don't drink it all the time, but I'm saying, nobody trips on me for that. Why? Is it some sort of magical drug? No. It's just like all the other drugs. It makes me feel good. Alright? Getting on the camera makes me feel good. That's a drug. Right? If for whatever reason you're watching this video, it makes you feel good. That's a drug. Right? You cannot let anything or anyone, because people are drugs too, you can't let one thing control your emotions and your feelings and your base. You can't get addicted to it in that such of a way, because you will depend on it. You'll absolutely worship it. It will be your God. Right? When you do the opposite and you diversify, then it doesn't matter. You could take away any number of drugs from you. You can take away 5 and 10 at a time, and it would not matter. You as a person would still be able to find drugs. In a jail cell where they ain't giving you nothing but pork and beans and stuff to eat, and you're in solitary or whatever, it's still possible, although very unlikely, to find drugs in that sort of a situation. Alright, before we get out of here, I'll give you a simple example. Right? Imagine there's two guys, alright, just hypothetically, they're the same body weight, same experience, same age, same demographic. They go out, and they're having a nice evening out in the town or something, out in the cool air having some drinks. Let's say they have the same exact drinks. You might have one guy, and he'll drink 3 drinks, alright, pretty stiff drinks. He'll drink 3 drinks real quick. He wants to feel good, mind you. And it doesn't matter what it looks like from the outside, and sometimes he might act like an asshole, right? He wants to feel good, so he drinks 3 drinks. His friend, the same exact tolerance. He'll drink 1 drink, and he'll be out there in the cool evening air, and he'll feel it hit his body, and that feels good. He'll look up, and maybe there's not so many clouds, and he'll see stars up there, and that will feel good. And he'll drink his drink, and he'll drink it slowly, by the way, completely moderating, just taking his time with it, enjoying it. He'll drink his drink and he'll notice, there's a pretty girl over there, and she's laughing, she's having a good time. He might go and talk with her later. That's making him feel good. All sort of stuff. And what I'm describing for you is a situation where the guy who drank one drink feels just as good as the guy who drank 3 drinks. Because he can diversify. Meanwhile, what I'm describing for you is an easy ticket onto how to not get addicted to anything, ever. Alright? It's really that simple. Most people, they'll never figure that out. And the ones who don't figure that out most of the time when they get addicted, say to these drugs, whatever it is, porno, or whatever, smack and cream and ice and all sort of sprinkles. The reason is because they don't know what drugs are. They don't know how to feel drugs. They don't know how to feel good. Right? We need to feel good. Irregardless, if people don't feel good, they're going to find a way to feel good. Hence, all the drugs that we've been buying. All the drugs that we're not going to get rid of. I don't care if we do get rid of MS-13. We're not going to get rid of these drugs. They're everywhere. So, might as well just recognize what they are. Might as well go ahead and conquer them. Thing is, you can't really judge, and Big Spring is the best town if you want to really know, to figure this out. You can't judge people. Oh, they drink alcohol all the time. That's messed up. That's a bad person. Oh, this person's tweaking out on meth all the time. That's messed up. That's a bad person. You really can't do that. Not here in Big Spring. That does not apply. Alright, I would like to draw your attention before we get on out of here to that part of the Bible in which it was talking about that. It was talking about food. Alright, and I forget which part. You might want to Google it. It was talking about food, and that it said the Bible basically what it says about food is this. And know that food is a drug. Everything is drugs. But it was talking about food, and it said this. It said eat whatever you want. You can eat whatever you want. You know how people, some of them eat kosher and stuff like that. The Bible, it says eat however you want. You can eat however you want. That's not a sin. Eat whatever you want. But it also states don't eat something that will inevitably become a stumbling block for your brother. All right. For example, like if your brother, if he's your brother and y'all live that way, and he can't eat meat, then it says you don't eat meat because it'll mess up your brother's life. Something like that. I'm going somewhere with this, by the way. I mean, you can be more contemporary with it, and these kids out here, there's some kids that are gluten intolerant. They can't have any bread or anything like that. What that basically means is the parents cannot and should not have bread either, even if it doesn't bother them, right? Because the bread that they eat will become a stumbling block for their child. Alright, so if what you eat sincerely affects negatively someone close to you, you shouldn't do it. You really shouldn't do it. Alright, and that actually goes for drugs, because drugs is food when you think about it. There's no difference. I mean, when you consider these drugs out here, the pills that people be popping, this and that, what they be shooting up, they're putting it into their body, and their body is digesting it, and then chemicals are happening in the brain. It is food. Right, so the Bible pretty much, what it specifically says is it does not matter what drugs you're taking, right? It does kind of advise in certain areas, don't do drugs hard. Don't do it. Like, for example, it says you can drink. Nobody has a problem with drinking. Wine is good. Don't get drunk, right? That's what it says. And the thing is, it applies to what it was talking about with food, and the drugs are the same thing. There's all sort of people out here doing drugs that you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't know that they do them. Because they keep it under wraps and they just go ahead and they live their life and stuff like that. Don't worry about them. However, when the fact is that these people out here that can't diversify their drugs, they only rely on one drug now. They're doing it heavily. They're acting a damn fool. That does become stumbling blocks for the people around them, and that is sincerely messed up. And it's something that needs to be thought about. All right. But however, drugs are not the problem. If people are to go on thinking that drugs is a problem, it is a problem that they will never solve. In fact, that problem will solve them. Inevitably. Anyways, I'll holler at y'all later. It is the tribulation. It's August the 24th, 2017.